You been getting outside much?
Not much. It's been storming.
Yeah. That could be kind of nice.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was storming like the day after I got my camera, and I saw the sky all crazy, and I was like, this thing's waterproof. So like, just ran out there, and it was a goofy little scene where I had this big yellow raincoat and an umbrella, and Ellie was following me with an umbrella too, and I had this like really horrible tripod, um, and it was pouring rain, and I'm like trying to hold the umbrella up and the camera up, and it's falling, and I'm just saving my camera, but like it just looked like we were struggling out there, and we were. It was just kind of funny. So I went out during a storm, which was kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been trying to. I haven't found my umbrella, but I've been at least trying to get out in that weather more. I think it's really unique and it's really empty most of the time, but things look good
Dude,
in
they
rain.
look so good in rain.
And
Especially
that's fun.
spring. Like the
Spring
spring green,
Mm-hmm.
wet, under fluorescent light.
Yeah.
Whew. Next to those red brick roads back here.
I went on a bike ride at like 1 a.m. a couple nights ago when there was just like this really, really thick fog with like the slightest mist. And so I have my bike light on, but I had to put on the lowest setting just with the fog. And you could still only see about maybe 15 feet in front of you. And then my glasses
Or
would
the
fog
highest
over
setting?
too. Well, with fog, the higher the setting, kind of the more it just bounces the light back at you. So like a lower
Whoa.
setting actually works a little bit better in fog.
Huh, okay.
So I'm doing that, but then my glasses are fogging up too. So that lowers my visibilities to like maybe 5 feet max on my bicycle, and it's 1 a.m. So I was trying to go to Ada Hayden via these bike paths that I didn't actually know. I'd never really been on them. I had never actually circled the Ada Hayden, but so I would go and I would start to get lost a little bit, which I love, and then I would pop out like where I was 5 minutes before. And it happened to me a couple times, and I was getting the biggest kick out of it. Like legitimately, like I'd be like, I have no idea where I'm at. And then I'd see someone and be like, wait, you're kidding me. I'm here again. And like at one point I'd even been traveling a path that I was already on. I was going on it the other way, but didn't even notice it was the same path until like I hit a certain landmark. And so it was just fantastic. And then when I finally got to Ada Hayden, there were just these little frogs everywhere. Like everywhere, like hundreds of frogs.
Whoa.
So I'd have to you have no visibility, so you're going like pretty slow because my goal was to not kill any frogs, And
Yeah.
so you would just be looking at the ground, and then all of a sudden one would pop up right in front of you, and you just have to dart.
What?
And you're just doing
Dude,
that for
sounds
miles.
wild.
Just doing it for miles. But it was just like fantastically fun, and your like clothes are starting to get like a little bit damp. It was a great experience. Like I took some photos that some of them turned out, some of them didn't. But then I come home at like 3 or something. I was like, wow, that bike ride was close to spiritual. Like
Yeah, that sounds like
it felt like a
Man,
vacation.
you were
It
rewarded.
felt like a vacation.
You were rewarded for going and doing that. Like,
Absolutely. It was a totally different. I was no longer in my city. I was somewhere completely different.
yeah, and dude, man, I love that, and I really believe that happens. If you do things like that, they will happen. You just have to like keep thinking about what you can do with your day and how you can bring that strangeness and that experience. You can make it worth it.
I completely agree. Dude, you could almost write a Hugh Prather book just on like that specific of an idea.
That's what I'm thinking, man.
Trying to figure out the rules for it, trying to come up with little like questions to ask or like different little to get there, and then also just documenting when it does work, why, to just encourage that, because it's definitely momentum too. Because like the next day, I had a great day of very unique and spontaneous activity. The day following it felt longer than the rest of the week has, and I was just riding that momentum.
I think that's just good ideas. They become clearly good after you try them, or I guess they show that they weren't.
Yeah, I feel like it's a bit of just saying yes too. I think it's something I've kind
Making
of
a
been focusing
choice.
on in my life. Yeah, like you don't always have to like I didn't come up with that idea, but I just like looked outside and saw the fog and was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you caught the thought. Yeah, you caught the thought and you did it.
I think
But it
that's
was even
huge.
before that. You're thinking maybe it was just like you went directly to it.
I don't know. I mean, it's just like you can't craft too far out. But when you get asked to do something by a person or
Mm.
by yourself or by the weather,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
do it. Just do it.
yeah. Recognize what your option is when it arises, and understand you can't predict where your day will go.
Yeah, I think that
In order to have a good one.
I feel that way for sure, and I think
And
that that's something that I've sort of embraced in my life here, just since moving. I think has been one of my big takeaways, and I mean I think just like with the whole like getting a bipolar diagnosis, like I think that made me feel like less in control in a really positive way, where like I don't actually think I am in that much control of my life, and I think that that's actually been a beautiful realization that I think I have some say in my life, and not much more than that
yeah,
which
no, I really think that way too.
which is great. And when I treat myself like that, it really opens things up.
You
Where
just kind of
even like
trust. You just kind of trust that your life will unfold in those ways. It will
it
provide
will
those
unfold.
experiences.
It it's going
By
to.
Yeah, just because that's what life is, and you just like you kind of have your standard way of thinking or your moods or your where you think your day is going, and you remain open to opportunities.
Yeah, I think that's huge. Remaining open and embracing. Right down
Yeah,
to I love the Hugh Prather's lines about like I've learned in life that friends do not last for a long time, so that I should embrace them while they're here. And while I think it's an incredible thing to try, like obviously, like like our friendship is one that I plan to have for the rest of my life. That was like a quote that it was really forwarded in my brain moving to Ames. Like I don't plan to be here for very long, so let's just run with this. And I feel like it's been great, and like I know that these friendships aren't for a long time, so I make sure to enjoy them. I make sure to develop them as far as we can, and then who knows what's gonna happen next. Or even like I don't know. I feel like I'm less in control of how I dress even because I'm just like going with my whims, and I'm gonna dress like this for
yeah.
now, and then that's gonna change, and that's so like that's totally okay. But it's fun. Like it feels like I get to explore my own. Like since I'm not like in
Just
the
like
driver's
not
seat of
really
even how
thinking
I'm
it
dressing.
completely through, just kind of like making quick intuitive decisions on even things like dressing and
Yeah.
just throwing things together. I really feel like that's what I'm trying to do right now with writing stuff, just kind of like having ideas and just throwing them down and just not really thinking about them too much, just kind of like seeing what comes out of me, what is there, rather than trying to
Organic.
craft things. Yeah. And just
Organic.
trusting that I am, a mind worth searching, and not trying to search it but just showing it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something that I've really been tuning into is that like if you try hard, if you have a piece of wood and you try hard, you'll get a board. But a branch is more beautiful than a board.
Hmm.
And I really feel that way. Most of my favorite things aesthetically are organic. And I look for ways that you can create organic. I love
Yeah.
pottery. I love pottery that's not perfect.
Yeah, it's just kind of like the way it went.
Yeah.
And that's how
That's
I
my
felt with the
favorite stuff.
digitizing stuff, man.
Embracing the element of the chaos, the unknown, the something that you can't control.
Yeah, what was there? What do you see in it? So how did you make this little adjustment next, and then one at a time you have a thing?
It can just be very fun too. I know like in my
It's a
first
fun way to
semester,
work.
in my like 102 class, there was a project with mixed media. And I remember I was really like apprehensive. Like I was just like I didn't really have ideas. I was like nervous about how everything was going to turn out. And then so I finally just told myself, you know what? Let's just do chaotic things. Let's drop shit from the balcony. Let's make mud into paint. Let's just do things that I
Yeah.
literally cannot control, and then it
Yeah.
becomes fun because I'm not
Yep.
stressing. It doesn't have to be perfect. I
It
cannot.
is more of an experiment. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
only at one factor in this, and then the element of unknown is another.
I came up with the rules of this. Yeah, this paint. I made it out of wood and yeah, dirt. But what happens after that, we'll see.
It becomes very fun, and maybe that's what
Yeah.
Milo does with rap.
I think that I mean when you were doing that, you know, and that was late last year. That was while I was writing the book. That was while I was editing that video for Sean. I mean, that we had conversations about that way of working, and we saw it as this true way to make art. Like we saw that as what making art was. Do you kind of remember that?
Yeah,
I still think that, man.
I think so too, and I think it more and more.
Yeah. Yeah, we had that one really good combo on the way to Dubuque. That was like right while the book was ending.
Huh.
Remember that?
On the way to Dubuque.
Yeah. I think it was on the way to Anamosa, which was on the way to Dubuque. Specifically, we had that conversation where we were like, what are your parents to you? What will you remember how would you describe your mom and dad?
Oh wow!
You remember that?
Yeah, now that you say it, that's
I've
incredible.
always kind of wanted to ask you, like, how did we describe them? Like, what was that? Because we were trying to think about what we would be like as parents, like what we would want our kids to describe us as, and what our grandkids would. I mean, we were thinking ahead and
Sure. Yeah.
and trying to
That's
think,
kinda-
and then trying to think back afterwards, you know, at what our parents were. But
Well, and what a great way to recognize, to like kind of push everything aside and just realize how you feel about someone.
yeah,
Is to try to think, how would you describe
how would you describe them?
your mom?
Okay. What
The question was, how would you describe your parents to your kids if they had never met them? What should your kids know about your parents, their grandparents that they'd never met?
Yeah.
That's that's awesome.
I mean, that was a foggy drive to Anamosa to pick up Bryce.
The fog, man. You can't see. You gotta fill in the blanks.
Yeah. A gray day. I remember that.